Welcome, welcome, welcome. Have we all watched the show? Very exciting. It has been a scandal. And I can't wait to talk about this because this is based on true events, which, you know, always very exciting because we lived through this. At least most of us did. And we remember it. But it's nice to get a refresher and a slight dramatization, like just a slight one too. So we'll let everyone trickle in, but welcome to what we watch. So y'all, first of all, welcome Teach. This is what we watch Wednesday, and we're gonna have some fun today.
Did you know that they changed this thing where I can apparently turn my camera on too, which is weird.
Oh, we don't need to see you. Thank you so much.
I'm not blessing y'all with my
God bless.
vision, but y'all will be blessed to see
We
it. So
do
please
not need to
put some
see
respect
anyone
on it.
else but me on this screen. Amen. Amen. I'm so excited that no one else can be seen except me. That's great. But truly, speaking of being seen on the Scene Film Festival coming August 24th, Teej, how are we feeling about the cast? Because how are we feeling about it?
Yikes. Okay, well, let me start on a positive note. We're feeling great about Lawrence Fishburne. He's amazing and everything. We're feeling pretty good about the woman who's playing V. Stiviano, who I had never seen before,
You're cutting
obviously.
up a little bit. Can you adjust? Where's my camera at? Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I think we're feeling great about our leads, like the important leads. We're feeling great about the guy who's playing. We're feeling great about Lawrence Fishburne, obviously. We're feeling great about Ed Harris, obviously, and we're feeling great about. I forgot the young lady's name, but the woman that's playing V. We're feeling great about her. And I also really like the woman who's playing Donald Sterling's wife, Shelley. I think she's doing a fantastic job. But outside of those four, and the best friend who is a show creation, she doesn't actually exist because V. Stiviano doesn't have any black friends. I think that she's doing great. But outside of those five people, we're really struggling with the cast, and it's hard to have cast somebody who has to be both athletic and look like the people, and so they went more with people who are supposed to look like the basketball players, but they didn't really nail that either. So a lot of the basketball player casting is pretty tough. The Chris Paul and the Blake Griffin and the DeAndre Jordan characters, I mean, they look ridiculous.
Yeah. And what's interesting is I love those characters. I absolutely love those characters. I love that we get to like experience the team in the way that we do. But I love those actors, is what I should say. I'm sorry. I love those actors. One of them was in P Valley. The guy who plays Matt Barnes is in Insecure, Sarunas. I don't know if I'm familiar with the guy that plays DeAndre. I'm pretty sure that I've seen him in something before, but this might be kind of his one of his biggest roles. Uh, but there's some decisions to emulate Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, Matt Barnes.
They gave Chris Paul the ugliest mustache of all time. Why did they do that to that young man?
Why does my camera keep going away? Can you stop making my camera go away and turn off
It
your
is not.
camera?
It is not me making your camera go away, and also my camera is off.
Is my camera going away to everyone?
Every time I speak, your camera goes away, but I
I
don't
don't
know
like
why.
that. I don't like that at all. I'm
Why
not a
can't?
fan.
Okay, wait. There it goes. Now it's doing it. Now it's right.
So when you speak, it should show your face. Show your face. See if it like fixes it.
No, I don't think I can. I think that's only an option if you weren't showing yours.
Or you just don't want to.
No, I can, but I didn't expect to. But You don't want me to stun on you like that. If they see me, then they're not gonna want to see
Well,
nothing.
you know, it's funny. You don't look like these casting choices out here crazy as hell. That's what you finna look like. But welcome to the stage, Angela. Jason, if you want to join, welcome. Are there any Clippers fans in here? Boo.
Angela is a Clippers fan.
Oh, well, I'm glad. Come, speak to us. Have you watched the first two episodes,
So,
Angela?
this is like very hard to watch because this is literally the first season I became a Clippers fan. Was that season this happened? And like
10 years ago, you became a Clippers fan.
the 2013-2014 season was, which is like the year the tapes leaked. Um,
Why did you do that?
I accidentally went to a game and I fell in love with Blake Griffin. Um,
You know what? The men do be getting us. Sometimes they get us, Angela.
and I've just been miserable since, but
Yeah.
it's been very hard to watch this because like I lived it. And not only that, like, like in the NWA movie how Dr. Dre was the hero, but like we all kind of know Dr. Dre's a terrible person.
This is how you feel about Doc?
There's probably like one person in my lifetime that I hate more than Doc Rivers. And so seeing this portrayal is very much offending me. And
I
like
never think of Clippers fans. However, when I do, I did think of y'all when I was watching the show, and I'm like, how do y'all feel about how they're portraying Doc? This great, formerly Boston coach that's like taking y'all to the playoffs. But that was a really hard time. Like you said, you fell in love with the man, and then you were very miserable for a very long time. That checks out. It checks.
but
It checks out.
but
That's how it
like
goes.
he was involved in this because like the JJ Redick signing was genius, right? It was. But they didn't show the Derek Dud what is this nigga's name? Some something Dudley, the
Right.
chunky guy, he got man
Right.
titties. They didn't show him. And that was
Jared
a
Dudley.
terrible, yeah, Jared Dudley. They didn't show him. And so that
Uh huh.
tells me that
They're
someone
trying to.
is, yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's been the hardest part. Like every time Doc is in the sauna talking to LeVar Burton, I get pissed off.
I'm glad. I'm glad we have some Clippers fans in here.
Mo,
This
can
is
I
what I
ask you
need
a
to hear.
question about how you would handle a certain thing that's been bothering me?
How I would what?
So obviously you're casting basketball players, but there's not a lot of basketball, right? There's one basketball scene, which is very
No,
nice.
no, no. Two.
Two. What's the second one? I only remember the Golden State one.
Um, no, there was the practice one.
Oh, okay, you're right. Okay, so we have two basketball scenes.
1.5 seasons.
So but you've got to cast people, and clearly not everybody you cast that doesn't mean that they're actually athletic and can play basketball. So and you can't like if you look at something like Winning Time, for example, they went and got a whole bunch of dudes who could actually hoop, but that's different because those are events that happened 30, 40 years ago. So we have less of a relationship to the way those people look. Obviously, we know how Magic Johnson looks, but like we have less of a relationship to how most of those characters playing basketball look to us.
Right.
How do you go about casting the show when you can't go get real basketball players to fill out the roster because then they're going to make your actors look bad on the court? So you have to get a whole bunch of people who can't hoop. If you have a whole bunch of people who can't hoop and their jump shots look bad and they can't dunk, for example, how do you film NBA basketball to a way that you can show it even for a couple seconds and make it look like it's supposed to look? Because I don't think that they got there, but that basketball sequence was disgusting to me.
That basketball scene was nasty. It was nasty. Here's the thing: I'd almost be offended if I was cast because I'm like, oh, so you know for a fact I can't hoop, but that's not what's happening. But I would never, if you cast me for a women's basketball team, like I'll be like, yeah, because I'm great at acting and I can hoop. Like I'm gonna make it look like we're hooping on camera. And so this might be an underrated skill, Teach. Everyone's always talking about actors doing their own stunts and like doing like really difficult like moments in grief or comedy or whatever. What we don't talk about is what actors can hoop. What actors are also like really great athletes. That's not something we see a lot. It's just not something we see a lot. And I think this show is really exposing that. I'm glad you brought up that scene because I tried to dump it out of my memory because I did not know what they wanted us to do with that. Moving forward, there's no reason for us to see any other scenes.
Facts. We don't need any more
We
basketball
don't need
scenes
any
in
more
this show.
basketball
Please
scenes.
don't give us any.
But you know what's interesting? The Clippers are the oldest team that have never won a championship, and at least that checks out. Because if the basketball is that trash, it checks out.
Yeah,
They
but then
never
you
won a
got
never won a
the
finals.
Warriors didn't
Never
go
won a
win a
finals.
championship, and they casted some random Latino dude to play Steph and Clay. They looked crazy.
They also were like on their like face very long, so that worked out pretty well. But you know, you got a light skin with 4C hair, you're okay. You got it. You got
They
it going on.
the dude that played Steph had a child. Oh, I didn't mean to press mute everyone. The dude that played Steph had childbearing hips, and you really can't do Steph in that way. I like the Steph disrespect, but it took me out of the scene almost immediately. I said, "What is happening out here?"
When I tell you I deeply do not need another basketball scene, there's because this isn't about hooping. That is like story C of this, right? I want to welcome Jason to the stage. Jason, welcome to What We Watch Wednesday. Have you
Hey,
seen
what's
the
up?
first two episodes?
Yes, I watched both episodes.
How did you
And
feel?
you know what? I feel like it's a comedy to me. Like,
I
I
like
mean,
that.
that's all. I mean, just because the casting alone, I mean, I'm just enjoying the entertainment of all this. Like, like the guy who played Big Baby. I don't know. So I immediately went to Twitter. I watched both episodes. I went to Twitter and to see what everybody else was talking about, and just
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, for
I
sure.
don't.
Here's the thing. I think it's comedy, but I also think it's exciting because I'm very, very young. I don't know if you guys know this. I'm super young, super successful, super, super young. And so when this happened, I I wasn't super tapped in because again, I care very little about the Clippers. I mean that from the bottom of my
Everyone
heart.
cares very little about the Clippers until they
I
sign
cl-
James
I
Harden.
care. I just I'm never moved. So for your biggest story on television on Hulu to be a scandal because that's like as much press as you'll get. It's sad, and I can't even talk too much shit because I've been to like 3 Clippers games this season on accident. Like all of them, like randomly invited to a suite for whatever reason. I don't know what's going on. Kind of indicative that maybe I'm not doing something right in life because why would you do that? Why do I look like a Clippers suite girl? Um, that's okay though. But my thing is like the girls are so powerful to like really ruin everything that's almost easily ruined. But the fact that this was so easily ruined, and Tej, you can attest to this, right? Like, as we were watching the first episode, I was like, it's crazy that this really happened. But you know what's crazier to me? And you guys tell me how you feel. It's crazier to me that it doesn't happen more often as I'm watching the show. It's crazy that it happened at all. And because it did, it's crazy that it doesn't happen more often to extremely rich, powerful, white, racist people. Does that make sense? Like, I want to welcome P Fire to the stage. Hi.
Hi everyone, how are you? Fire. You can just the P is silent.
Fire. Perfect. Okay.
Hi. I'm not surprised it doesn't happen because I've seen it happen. I'm a musician who's been in the industry for years, even though I have a day job. And men, no offense to the men, but men are really, really, oh my God, they just keep getting into these problems, this trouble because of women. And I know we're powerful, but I just don't understand it. You destroy legacies, you destroy kingdoms over a woman. He wasn't even sleeping with her. That's what makes it even crazier to me. It wasn't like he was getting his jollies off like Hugh Hefner. He was getting nothing out of it. And
We
I
got to
just
come
claim
back to
to
that. I'm
understand.
not so sure that they're not sleeping together. I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all.
Okay. Well, hold on a second. Fire. Thank you for saying that. Wait, because I'm a little confused. You said you're not shocked that it happens, or you are shocked that it happens?
Oh no, I've seen worse. I've seen worse than Donald Sterling. Like every day when all these
That's what I'm saying.
allegations come out about people and they've done this and that, and I've known Diddy for years, and I'm not going to go into it, but I'm just still shocked, even if it's someone I know where I've been in their spaces, when the salacious stuff comes out, or the fact that Donald Sterling had this woman around and his wife was okay with it, and she didn't go straight Lorena Bobbitt. Because to me, he it was beyond disrespectful, and she had Stockholm syndrome. His mistress had Stockholm syndrome, and he was a narcissistic tyrant. And he only got away with it because he had money. Because a regular white man, a regular any man with no money, would not have been able to get away with all that for just a month.
Mm,
You
mm.
know.
So let's pause. That was a lot, and I love
I
that.
know.
That's
I
totally
talk a
fine.
lot. Teach will tell
No,
you I
you're
talk a lot.
totally fine. No, thank you. Welcome to. That's why we're here. We're here to chat. I didn't know that we'd go there with the Clipper stuff, but thank you because I want to talk about that. Tej, you interjected earlier, and you were like, "No, I don't believe it. I think they were fucking." And you know how I feel about this. You should know how I feel about this, TJ, right? You know what I'm about to say.
I know exactly what you're about to say.
It is super possible to deal with super rich men, especially as Fire described them, and not be sexually involved with them. Because at that level, at times, sex is so easy and available and offered that the excitement around it almost like excites people more. The anticipation, the chase. I'm not saying that I'm like that when it comes to sex or whatever the case may be. I think people sound insane when they say the anticipation of sex is better than sex. If you're saying you have terrible sex, then just say that. But extremely powerful Donald Sterling not having sex with a gorgeous Latina, whatever she was, woman, V. Stiviano, it's not far fetched to me. I like that they put that in the film for people, or in the TV show, excuse me, for people like Tej to be like, that's cap, and for people to me to be completely believe it, because it makes perfect sense to me. It is not far fetched to not have sex with beautiful women. Most of you struggle getting beautiful women in general, and if you get enough money, you can still get them, and we're still kind of like, what's going on here, guys? So, Angela, you've had your hand up for a while. I'll let you go ahead. Fire, I see you unmuted. Give us a second.
Yeah, so I know people are gonna say like the acting that some of these people don't look like, who they're portraying. And just, I just want to first and foremost say, kudos to Blake Griffin, because every time we see a biracial with red hair, we just automatically call them Blake Griffin. That's his legacy. But like the actor that does play, as someone who was a fan, the actor that does play Blake Griffin has a lot of his mannerisms, and the actor that's playing Chris Ball perfectly encapsulate what an asshole Chris Paul is, like, just to the T. So like I know, like, the guy who looks like JJ Redick literally looks like everyone I went to college with, so maybe him not so much, but like some of the actors, and the guy who plays DeAndre
Did you
Jordan
go to
just
college in the Midwest?
I went to BYU, so close enough.
Listen,
um and the and the actor that plays DeAndre Jordan is just dumb. So like, I know they don't look like they're actors, but they have the characteristics and mannerisms of their actors.
I like that. I appreciate that because me and Tej gonna cook regardless, and it's hard. It's hard to make a show about real people within the last 10 years because we know what they look like, you know. And it's even harder to do that and train these actors. And I see Brandon in the audience, acting coach. Welcome, happy What We Watch Wednesday. Come on up and chat. Get BT up here. Get Beachala up here. But as actors that also have to represent athletes, and you can't hoop, and it's clear you can't hoop, it's difficult. So I appreciate you saying that at least the personality, which was probably what's the most important thing about this story in general, is not the Clippers are trash, represented by people that can't hoop. The Clippers being represented by people that can't hoop. It makes sense, honestly. Maybe that's genius, actually. Getting people that could hoop, you might think that the Clippers had a chance, and they didn't. So that maybe it works, honestly. But at the same time, I think that like it's just a difficult task. It's just a difficult task to get something so scandalous from this team and get everybody that we know very well. These are not like, that was a big team. Like, these are big, everyone knows, everyone in this room, whether you watch the NBA or not, we know who Chris Paul is, we know who Blake Griffin is, we know who DeAndre Jordan is. Like, we know these people. These are very famous people. I mean, even if you didn't know Miss V Stiviano, like, you could get away with that. But she's a gorgeous woman there's a gorgeous woman being played by her, or that she's playing, and so it makes sense. You're in the story. But when you see, JJ Redick or Chris Paul, and you're like, oh, all right, I have to remind myself that this is that. So go ahead, Teach.
Well, before Teach,
I find it.
before Teach goes, you guys just ignore my battery. I have a tray ceiling in my fire in my fire detector in my bedroom, and I don't have a 50-foot ladder to get to it. So if you hear me talking and you hear it, do not drag me on the timeline, Teach. I already see it
Oh,
coming.
You see
no,
how
I've
there's
already,
some
I've already
flex
got
on
the,
us? That's a
I've already
flex.
got the tweets in the draft. So no, you're not going to get away from this one. Go ahead, Teach.
We just got flexed on 50-foot steel.
It's not 50. It's not 50 feet, but it's like 30. It's too tall. I'm 5'10", and I don't. I'm not getting on the ladder to get up there to do it. So the alarm company has to come do it. But go ahead.
I think we have to take this time to talk about our protagonist.
You sound like you're in a potato. Please fix this. Why are you? Welcome, BT, to the stage. Is this your first time being in a What We Watch room or space?
Yeah, yes, it is. Hey, everybody, how y'all doing?
Acting coach BT in the building. He's coached some of your faves. Uh, did you watch the first two episodes?
But I don't have a 50-foot ceiling for the record. Um,
Okay.
this show is a little bit tricky for me because I actually worked for the Clippers during this time,
Did you?
so I was there.
Wow.
What was your role for the Clippers? Were you helping them
Um,
be better at basketball because they needed help?
no, actually, I worked like the entertainment, so like I entertained like the fans through those years, 7 years. I was there doing those things, so I'm
Oh,
cool with Blake on some level, and CP. I did a State Farm commercial with him, so we're cool when we see each other. DJ is something else. Um, and yeah, kind of like what you were saying about the looks and how things are.
yeah.
You can forgive that kind of stuff when the performance is great, but when the performance isn't as great as it could be, I think you have time to look at these types of things
Right.
that unfortunately makes the battle like an uphill fight. That like to find somebody that looks like this person or that person, and to know they auditioned all kinds of people. I auditioned for the show for a character, and I was like, I don't look nothing like this man, but here we go.
I might have a friend of mine that's on the show that got cast and is in there. Come join us so that we can hear it straight from him.
Totally.
But that's exciting.
I have a client on the show as well.
You definitely have the height,
You know,
but yeah, you be on the bench, my boy.
life is hard. Life is hard.
You know what? I want to know what we watch for somebody. Find out for me, like who the casting director is, because they had a task. Okay, and like I said, as actors, I like a lot of the people in the show. But let's get into the mess, because it's men, fail at a lot of things. I think we've covered that. I think the thesis statement is men fail at a lot of things. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, this rendition is it hasn't been called a dramatization. And if you remember the last show about a basketball team that came out and was a dramatization, everyone remembers, right? The actual LA team. Teach, your favorite show.
Winning
Winning
time.
Time.
Great.
So we got Winning Time, which was canceled, right? Which is very sad, right? Winning Time was.
Yes. I heard someone call this show losing time because it's the Clippers as opposed to the
That's
Lakers, which is
genius. I love that. Send me the tweet. I love that. But Winning Time was fun, and the casting was really great. And so I kind of have that level of a threshold for like my judgment as well. Um, and so seeing this, like LA's other team also coming out, but they didn't really drive this as a dramatization, which everyone would always like any criticisms of Winning Time and the people represented in the show not liking that the show came out and things like that. all the discussions around Winning Time, which was just really well produced and made. Um, this doesn't have that. They're kind of just letting people cook in here, and I kind of love that. So when I'm watching this show based on what actually happened, and I haven't been bombarded with this is a dramatization, this is this, we're making this ready for television. When I don't have that, I'm like, oh shit, like did they really say that? And Tej, I know that like you have a lot to say about that because apparently you listen to like all the podcasts by the journalists. I had no idea that occurred. I just heard a rich white man liked a non-white beautiful woman and was racist. To me, it's another day in Hollywood. You know, that's just, of course. What are we talking about? Of course he does. So, Tej, what did you learn about all of that?
So I think that timing wise, 10 years feels so right because you're right. So this is partially, or maybe even mostly based on Ramona Shelburne's podcast about these events. I forgot that's how exactly how that played out. Oh, I forgot that he signed JJ Redick right then. And I forgot that Donald Sterling didn't want JJ Redick because he was white. Like some of that stuff gets lost to time. So as somebody who was really clued into the actual story when it was happening, it's like a perfect balance of I remember enough, but I don't remember everything. So some of the stuff I still get to have some kind of surprise with when I see it on the screen. So I think 10 years, we've seen stuff that's way more recent. We've seen stuff that's 2, 3 years after the fact. And that's just really difficult to do because we still remember, like, whenever they put out what's the name of the people that went into the ocean and drowned in the little thing? Like, when that movie comes out next year or whenever it drops, it's going to feel so recent to us because that just happened and now we're watching a movie about it versus 10 years feels like that feels about right around the time of where you could really dig in and get deep and people don't remember every little detail.
Yeah, I definitely don't remember every little detail. And so I find myself just kind of immersing myself even more. I think, especially by episode 3, when I watch that, I'm going to be like, you know what? I'm just going to believe everything and then go back. And if anything felt completely far fetched, because I think the first thing that I asked myself, as someone that definitely, again, was not paying attention to the Clippers, and Angela, I want to hear more. As someone who was a fan there, how did you feel? How were you following, 2 seasons after that? And you too, BT, as someone who worked in the entertainment part of that, did you meet Beast Tibiano? Maybe that's what this whole What We Watch
Or
episode is
Donald.
about. Maybe you had a chit chat with her. But my thing is when I hear some of her commentary away from Donald Sterling, it's fascinating. I think that actress is doing a fantastic job of like showing the breadth and the like her life outside of that, because this isn't about her life outside of the scandal and the mess and what she leaked. But when we are in those moments, I think I get really excited and I'm like, I'm interested to know a little bit about who you are outside of the one that rubs the feet of Donald Sterling. Like, this is fun. Shout out Al Bundy. He's doing great too in this TV show. But that's where I'm at with it. I'm really super into V. I'm super into it. I'm like, what is she gonna do? And I love that immediately. Episode 2, she leaked it. Like, we're not working up to the leak. We're not, we're really deep in this. So it feels like in Succession on HBO does this really well. And the camera people talked about how you are another character in this. That's the other character in the show. And so I feel like this show is doing the same thing. And I feel like I'm someone that's there. There's so many people in these rooms that, you have just the craziest titles or whatever. And I feel like I'm one of those people in the Clippers like realm in 2013, like, oh shit, I'm watching this happen too. And this is crazy. And I'm gonna stay out of it, but I'm a friend of the friend of the friend. And so I'm seeing this real time. So that's what TV does for us, and that's the power of it. So I'm really excited about it, to see the next few episodes. BT, go ahead.
Similar to, sorry, I don't know everybody's names. But do you think, like you were talking about, like the recency of the project? Were you able to see Dumb Money by any chance?
Oh, I
Because
love Dumb Money.
Love them.
right, and I think
Absolutely loved it.
that I think it's really like similar to the acting and the characters. It's just based on how good it is, right? Like if it just happened and they do a movie about it 3 days later, if that thing is good, it's good. And I think Paul Dano is as random and regular as a white man can look, and he got straight to it. So I just think it's just like how good it is and suspending disbelief. You know, it's kind of like Star Wars, how you can sit through 3 hours of orange and purple people and you don't think anything of it, you know, because it's just that good.
That's some good world building, but that's what's difficult, right? Like, you created this world, so I can suspend the disbelief for a while. But I mean, we just saw the Clippers being trashed, like, a couple months ago, and then we also like saw this shit, 10 years ago. But I like both points. I like what you're saying, Tej, and I like what you're saying, BT. Angela. Oh, perfect. You raised your hand just as I was calling you. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I remember the Ramona Shelburne podcast, and I remember Blake Griffin wrote, oh my gosh, I cannot think of the name, but like the athletes, they have like this blog they write posts on. uh
Mm.
I can't think of the name, but I remember he was
Players
telling
Tribune.
the Players Tribune, yeah. Blake Griffin was telling a story about the white party at the Players Tribune, and he was like, yeah, every year Donald Sterling would like drag me around to introduce me, like, hi, if you don't know, this is Blake Griffin, he's our star, and all this other stuff. And like, just seeing that scene, I just like remembered all of that, and I felt like really bad for him. And I don't know, like, if it's a fetishization thing, because in the Ramona Shelburne podcast, she mentions that when they drafted Blake, they didn't know he was biracial. They thought he was Latino. Like, he didn't find out Blake was black until he met his dad. He's like, oh wait, you're black. um and so like, I like that like really made me feel uncomfortable, like the way he was just like, if you didn't know that, because that was the summer they gave Chris Paul that massive extension too. So like, that just made me so uncomfortable. But like,
They
and
captured that really well.
yeah,
I
and
think.
like, oh sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
And that's why, to me, I was like, oh yeah, like he has like a bit of like,
Let's see if we do. Okay. Teach. Did V fuck up her own bag? This is a very layered conversation.
I'm gonna go with no.
Okay. Jason.
I'm gonna say yes.
BT.
Yes, sir.
Fire.
Not at all.
Forever. Macaulay. Hey, Macaulay. How are you? Did V fuck up her bag?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's that like?
Notice it's all men saying it, but go ahead.
Is this 3-3? Okay. Go ahead, Angela. I'm gonna say mine so we break the tie, but go ahead,
yeah,
Angela.
so I think she did. And like, people were saying like, oh, like, when I was reading some of the tweets or whatever, people were like, oh, she's young and dumb, like she didn't know what she was doing. I'm like, well, she was in her 30s like when this was happening, so she's not like 21, 22, 23.
They
Like,
said that in the
yeah.
show too. They said she was 31 or 32. Yeah.
Yeah, like I just think she fucked up her own bag. Like, you're not having sex with this man. You're jealous because he doesn't want to go to a Dodgers game with you, but he's buying you houses. Like, I don't know. Like, I was just like, this is like, girl, like, be happy in your situation. Like, you're wanting
Girl.
too
Right.
much.
Also, remember, she wasn't having sex with this man. He doing all this for her.
Okay.
I'm pretty
Imagine if
sure in the
imagine if
lawsuit
she put it
there's this.
imagine if she put it on him. That's all
And
I'm like.
her lawyer said that the gifts that she was getting sued for, that they couldn't take them because they was community property, and they was given to her. So she wasn't gonna lose the house and everything like she thought she was in the first place. Her lawyer said that she wanted to leak the tape just out of spite to the to the current wife.
We gonna get to the lawsuit because I have some problems. I have some problems with
My
that.
bad, my bad.
No, no, no. I'm glad you brought it up. But Angela, okay. Let me address one thing before we address the did she fuck up her bag thing. I like what you said about, Blake Griffin. And like I said, I don't know anything about Rachel's podcast. Rachel is her name? Is her name Rachel?
Ramona Shelburne.
Ramona. Okay,
Yeah.
see, I'm already messing up folks' names. Um, if anyone listened to that religiously, I love that. I want to hear more from you. I have not heard one single word from it. However, what I liked about that, and what I liked the anecdote you shared about Blake Griffin and like whatever, I think they're really capturing Donald Sterling's racism, which is a testament to him as an actor. But I love that in the moments where you get DJ and Chris Paul like in the locker room, and the owner walks in, and the way he's talking is not super overtly racist, but it's like as a Black person, you know what those things sound like and how they feel. Like I really, really I like that. I like that they're capturing how someone could come back out, like you said with Blake, and say, like, these are the kinds of things he used to do. Now that we're here, it makes sense. And so I think the show is just I think it's really successful to me so far. Like it's really, presented the story and successfully shown the ins and outs and the messiness behind it, even with the wife, and confiding in her friends about how he has a mistress, but making sure that her friends know, well, he's not having sex with her. As if that makes any difference to this, small group of white women that are married to rich men, right? Like these things are funny, and it's the layers of racism, and it's just what happened when this story broke and the tape was leaked, right? This is exactly what happened, and so to know that this is doing that is really, really fun. But on top of that, with V, the answer is no. She didn't fuck up her bag because she didn't have a bag. She was given gifts. She was given bags. But there's a difference when you're getting a bag. Thank you, Teach, for the multiple 100 emojis. There's a difference in getting a bag from a man versus getting gifts from a man. Getting a bag versus getting a bag. And so I don't think she fucked up her bag. Again, I'm very forward thinking when I say that, and just as someone that kind of understands how men get caught up in this kind of situations. She was more strategic than a lot of people may know and quite understand by episode 2 here, even though it's 10 years after it happened. And I think that you kind of have to play the very long game. And when you play the very long game, you take some L's up front. But I'm not saying that she isn't silly or that it wasn't absolutely outrageous. I don't really have a feeling either way. Exposing a racist white person, to me, it's like, hey, do what you got to do. No surprises there. A racist, extremely wealthy white man at that, right? Like, do what you got to do. But I think the short answer is no, she didn't, because she didn't even really have one to begin with. Yes, if you make money, you'll probably want to buy a duplex, but I mean, she got it, and then she got turned around and sued for it, and then the lawyers were like, "Oh no, it's cool. Like, they can't really do anything about it." So yes, you have a house, but I mean, can you sell the house, and for how much, and what are you gonna do with that bag? Like, she didn't fuck anything up. Like, it is what it is. But go ahead, Teach. What do you think?
First of all, I want to give props to Cleopatra Coleman and Jackie Weaver, who I think are giving the two best performances in the show. I think that they're showing the levels of her delusion, but also she never really had it, right? And also, her and Shelley are going back and forth, and they're both, feeling like they're being slighted by this man because they want his affection, but really what they want is his attention. Really, what they want is him to just look in their direction and only their direction. And I think the show does a great job of pointing that out. But no, she didn't fumble a bag. If anything, she can take the gifts that she still got down the road if she owns the house outright, which we don't know exactly sure. She can go sell that. She didn't fumble a bag. She never had a bag. And you got to factor in the fact that how this man was treating her. I mean, he's treating her like garbage. She's literally telling him, "I'm sorry that this is my skin color," because of the way that he's treating her. Like, she's being denigrated in a very real way, and it's not like it seems like she has, all her wits about her own race and how she feels about her own identity, and he's playing on that. I don't think she fumbled anything at all. I think that she got the kind of revenge and the kind of get back that most women in that situation don't ever dream of getting, and she got it.
I agree. Well said. Well said. Macaulay, did you have any commentary on the lawsuit? Because that's kind of, what, to me, what the show is saying is that, because I think, and Tej and I, you and I spoke about this, right? Tej, you said that you thought it was the catalyst for her seeking revenge and leaking the audio was because of her not getting the duplex. But we saw the keys in the show and everything, so we have to assume that that's the story that we're going with, and that she did get this duplex. But then she was further later sued by the wife. So that's what triggered her. And I have to stand just if I step back, doesn't matter if this is a true story or not, if it's just a story that I'm enjoying on television, women are absolutely ruining everyone's life. And I have to stand. Dude was having a good time with his side. She wanted to be the main. She kind of got a little big dog in front of the wifey. And the wifey said, "Oh, well, I'm going to sue you." And she was like, "Oh, well, I'm going to leak your husband's tapes." And it's just, it's good TV. This is good stuff. Like, and so when I think about if it actually happened this way, I'm like, "Ooh, buddy, this is a
The funny part about the tapes is that he mentioned to his wife that, oh, V records me in the first episode. V records everything I say because I have a bad memory, and the wife was like, she records you because she knew how reckless he was when he was speaking. So they kind of like set up the the reveal later, but I didn't think they was gonna reveal that she released the tapes this early in the first two
yes,
episodes.
yeah, I love that."
But as far as like the lawsuit thing is, I think it was more of a scare tactic by the wife because I'm pretty sure her lawyer already advised, the lawyer advised her that you can't get none of this, they can't get none of this stuff back. She's just trying to scare you off, basically. I don't think they was gonna follow through with because she mentioned it again, talking about V hasn't responded to my lawsuit yet or anything yet. Cause
Mhm.
she was trying to scare off, and then that's why she was surprised when she popped back up when she dropped them off at the house when she was throwing stuff in the pool and stuff. And that's when he was trying to like calm her down, like, oh, this and that, the third, blah blah blah. So I don't think the loss. I think the lawsuit was more of a scare tactic than actually to go through with it, because I think she didn't want to be. You know, it's L.A. They don't want to be seen by TMZ or nothing in the public, but what you in court for and all the other stuff like that. So I think,
TMZ has been responsible for so much in Hollywood. My goodness. Well,
He left her at a Chevron station, and then he literally left her there. He never went back to check on her. He stayed with his wife that night. They woke up in the morning by the pool.
right.
this
That's
is
insane.
scandalous. It's crazy, and it's like, and I think Fire alluded to this. It's not even the worst that you would hear in this world, but I think that I don't know. I'm gonna have to stand the female villains. I'm gonna have to stand because also not only is she like not a villain, but she's not a victim. She's not anything in this, which I think, again, from a television perspective and a writing perspective, it's so fun to have a character. And I think TJ, you touched on it earlier, how everyone around these characters are also so imperfect, right? Like, in some moments, you're with them and you're like, I would totally feel that way, right? That's the power of television. You got a character and you're like, I would totally have done that. Or no, if I was V, I would totally have shut the fuck up and just, kind of get with it, and maybe I could get a bag later or whatever the case may be. Or if I was the wife, who gives a fuck? I would have been out here getting my, what did she say? What did the wife say? I can get my own Donnie. I would try, but you're still the guy on the playground for me, right? So when we get into all these imperfect victims or villains or whatever you want to call it, I think it's exciting that this is a story about the downfall of the co-owners of the Clippers, right? But the messiness that ensues around it, everyone who felt like they had a say in it, everyone who had an opinion, everyone who was racist, everyone who was colorist, all of that kind of stuff. Like it's been fun. Go ahead, Angela. And then Fire, go ahead.
No, it is funny how like both of the women like sort of have like the same problem with him.
Uh-huh.
Um and like Shelly's friends are messy. They're enablers and she shouldn't
They
be
are.
friends with them. Cause they were like, "Oh girl, you got long legs. Take all his money. That's your money." I'm like the team Shelly, I was just like, you guys are too old for this behavior. Like, why are you guys giving her such terrible advice, you know?
She ain't got the range. It's truly. What were you gonna say, Fire?
They should have also told her that she was not spitting when she said, I could get my own V, but you're still the little boy in the shorts. She was not spitting. Where was Team Shelley in the writing
I
department?
agree. because because like I said, I was kind of telling myself when she said that, I did not feel that. I did not feel that. I'm like, girl, the way I would have three Donnies if he had one V, let's go. Let the games begin. I would like to play a game. I'm Jigsaw, baby. I would love to play a game. Let's play this game. And honestly, like, you have to know your husband at some point, right? Like, he's not adjusting in any way over this hot new woman in his life that is his assistant, right? What did Shelley say? How does she have a red hot Ferrari? That's interesting, right? So I don't know. I thought that was fun. But with the lawsuit, and Teach, please, as our resident attorney that knows every type of law in the world, thank you so much for knowing every single answer to every law question we have. I did not realize what, like, how lawsuits worked in that manner, because as soon as she gave her the lawsuit or like served her the papers, I was like, girl, you can't sue me because your man got me a gift. And I generally went to teach and I was like, is this, can you do this? And I know, like, isn't cheating like illegal in like 3 states or something? You guys help me out here. I don't know. Is it?
Yeah, but she didn't sue her husband. She
She
sued
sued the
the
girl.
side
So I'm
piece.
like,
You
you
can't do.
can't sue me because your man tricking. I don't, that's crazy to me. So talk to us about like how lawsuits work.
First of all, you can sue anyone for anything. So you don't have to have merit to go bring a lawsuit. If I go pay my $600 to sue Jason, I can make up some shit to sue Jason, and he's technically been sued. Now I'm not gonna win the lawsuit, but I can go file it right now. So you can go file anything you want to, and sometimes people do that to make people take certain actions or stop taking certain actions. And obviously, she wants to send a message to B. She didn't care about the merits of it. She just it cost her nothing to get a lawsuit filed. She's rich. Yeah, go sue that bitch. Make her nervous for a couple days. That's basically what it is.
And you made her nervous for a couple of days, and she said, bet. I'm going to make you nervous for the rest of your life.
She circled right back to your man.
That's crazy to me. You gotta pick your battles. And I think what they really meant by that idiomatic phrase was pick your lawsuits. Cause now she done ran and now your man is coddling her. Actually, no, Shelly got her man for a little bit. And the first 2 episodes showed that, right? She got her man back for a little bit. Because what did Shelley say? I took care of V. And this is how these types of men move, right? Like they have their tastes and their flavors and their cravings, just kind of fulfilled whenever they want. And when the money talks and the money doesn't even matter anymore, you just kind of do whatever you want. And so you have your wifey, you have your mistress, you have whoever else you want in your life. It doesn't matter. Like you do whatever you want. So I think it's interesting that to me, the way this is presented is like the lawsuit
And
drove. Go ahead.
you know what makes so much crazy sense and it doesn't? These men don't realize that now there are channels where women are talking to each other. Like back in like the 90s, it was not like this. Like you could be sleeping with Method Man and nobody would know in like 500 years that you were sleeping with them. So I say all that to say, like these women are out here, quote unquote, exposing men. B. Stiviano, God bless her, she wasn't as fine as the woman, even Cleopatra Coleman is her name. She wasn't even that fine. But anyway, I'll go to another thing because the host has been talking about how beautiful she is. V. Stiviano was not that beautiful. So why was Donald Sterling so enchanted by her? That's what I want to get into the bottom of. Why do you love this woman that's not cute? I really want to know.
Well, I think I touched on this earlier, and Angela, I see your hands up. And any men, if you want to tap in, please feel free. Um, I think my only comment to that is this is why, when it happened, I was like, a rich racist white man has been bamboozled by this. Okay, well, you win some, you lose some, and sometimes you lose a lot, right?
Girl,
But I think like,
he is 91 years old.
right?
Nobody is trying to have sex with him. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
You said what?
I said he's 91. No one is trying to have sex with him.
But that's what I'm saying. At 91, you can't really see well. You know what I mean? So like, she's probably fucking stunning to him. Angela, go ahead.
To why did Donald Sterling find her so attractive? It, I don't know if this is like appropriate to say. It's obvious he has a thing for people who look mixed race, because he was attracted to her and just the way he treated Blake Griffin. Like he literally like would talk and like treat Blake Griffin like he wanted to fuck him. So like, I think
Yep.
he has like a thing for people who look mixed race like that. And like, I get like Matt Barnes looks like a Puerto Rican singer, but like
Puerto
Blake
Rico.
Griffin. Blake Griffin is literally a ginger. Like, he has a thing for that, I think.
Here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do, and here's what I'm not going to do. And I want the men to speak on this. What I will do is cook whoever is silly as fuck in any situation. Okay, anybody can get it. What I will not do is talk about why one ugly ass man likes a not so attractive person, whatever. Like I feel zero things about either of these people. So I mean, if you are an ugly white rich man and you can't, pull any bad women, like, to me, I think that's fair. I think it makes perfect sense because I think men need to be hotter. I think men have a big responsibility here to try to be sexier people. And the fact that men are not being sexier is a huge problem in society. And these are the things that we've allowed for so long. I can't wait till a scandal about ugly men coming out so that everyone can start to be sexier and take care of themselves and get themselves a little work done so that they can look better and their skin is better and they smell better and they're taller and they have, more hair. And it's just, so when it comes to like sexiness and like couples and money and fame, it's a difficult conversation for me because sometimes everybody look crazy. I know for a fact it smell crazy in there, so I stay out of that because that ain't got nothing to do with me. But men, Jason, how do you feel about it?
Why I gotta go first? I don't know.
I can go.
I don't know. Yeah, no.
Go ahead, TZ.
I think both of our leads, uh, the Ed Harris and also Miss Cleopatra Coleman
Cleopatra.
are better looking than who they're playing, which is usually how it works. They're both better looking than the
One of my biggest things in the industry that I'm trying to change is that we need to have hot villains. If you're going to be a piece of shit, you got to be hot.
people that
Go
they're
ahead,
playing.
Cheech.
Ed Harris is much. I mean, that's the closest we're gonna get to a hot villain, I guess.
What you won't catch me doing on camera is calling a white man hot, unless it's Tom Hardy. Moving on. Moving on. Moving on from this.
Tom Hardy is like what, like 5'2"? That's what you like. You like men that are 5'2", 5'3"?
I like men that are hot. Will I date Tom Hardy? Maybe. But being hot doesn't always have to do with height. And I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. You heard it here first, guys. I've never said this in my life.
You know this is
I
recorded,
know
right?
this is the first time in my life that I've ever said this. Please don't cut this into anything, um, because you do need to be 6'3" and up. I think that's a requirement. But Tom Hardy's hot. That's the only time you're going to hear me say anything about a non-black man being hot. Moving forward, Jason, you copping out. So BT, go ahead.
What's the exact question?
The exact question is, are we at all taken out of the story, or just like from the true events to now, on the attractiveness level of the woman and the man and anything like that?
Oh nah. I live in LA. I live in Hollywood. I know that attractiveness don't matter. Uh yeah, I think that it's a shame that he only got this much or that he only had one of these women with the money that he had, respectfully, because I think that women have a very unique, special, God-given ability to be able to see past looks, right, and get to know you and love you as a person.
I don't know
Whereas
if God gave us that. I don't think that.
I,
Not as
well,
funny if
hold
He
on.
gave us that.
Maybe you haven't developed it yet, but I know that men are visual creatures first. So I shout y'all out for being able to, acquiesce to these certain types of things. But
I think the devil gave us that ability. That's the
I
devil
think
himself.
I think when you got money, you should really be able to have just about whatever you want if you can get around it. If you can get close enough, I think you should be able to make it jump. And
I
not everything, right? Everybody can be bought, but you get it.
No, I don't. I love conversations about attraction and wealth because we all know, right? Just baseline, whether you adhere to it or not, whether you're special or not, because I believe I'm special as well, and I know this. But like, men, you got to have some money. We're looking at you, we're looking at your partner, and we're like, why is you with this broke nigga if not? And men, and women have to be attractive or beautiful, which I think is far more subjective, which is why we're having this conversation. Thank you, Fire. It's far more subjective, right? Because what's bad to BT may not be bad to Teej, may not be bad to Fire, and most likely will definitely not be bad to me. But you got to understand, as the comment that you made, BT, with everyone in LA having, a certain look, not necessarily like beautiful or sexy or stunning or unique, but having a certain look and presence and personality and kind of, lack thereof about you can add to the attraction level. And having tits can help, and having a cute butt helps, not even a big butt, not even big tits, just having where they sit right there, and they're tight and they're up. That's what works. So go ahead, Fire. I hear your beeping.
Wait, hold on. I can't even. I don't. I'm not even. Excuse me. Shoot.
We hear
Hello.
you.
I'm
Yeah.
not used to spaces enough. I did it one time with Luke Campbell, who's one of my favorite people ever, but he made me pissed off. But anyway, so I say all this to say I have like 10 things to say.
Mhm.
P Valley, C Murder is the C Paul person.
Correct. Chris Paul,
J
yes.
Alphonse, yes, and a lot of people don't know that, and I love him too much.
Love him
Watch P
so much.
Valley. But I say this as a woman who's been in the music industry, signed to 3 major record deals, and I know what goes behind the scenes is so effing wicked that people would die. So when I see these lawsuits come out, I'm just like, well, you were around that. You were around that from the beginning, sis. And I'm not blaming anybody, but why were you even entertaining someone that said, "Oh yeah, you can come here, and I'm gonna." It makes me mad. I have 8 nieces who would never do that, and it's not a hierarchy thing. It just pisses me off because these people are predators. The music industry is predators, the entertainment industry is predators, and we need young girls to know just because you have a big booty and a BBL, you ain't dope. Everybody's dope. Because I could be dope as FA. If somebody saw my body, they'd be like, oh yeah, she dope. I'm not dope. These young black women are dope, and they're being made to think like they are, oh, you're special. No, this is what these black men do, and they take advantage of us, and it makes me really sad. It makes me
When,
really sad, and I have to calm down. But it makes me
when,
really sad because I saw it because I've been signed to 3 major record deals
when
with
this,
names.
I don't want to interrupt you, but let me engage with you real quick. When this show came out and it was like marketed out, were you excited about it coming out, or were you like
No,
a little
because
bit
I'm the
sad?
black woman that got Bill O'Reilly fired from Fox News. Look my name up. Yes, that is me. I
Okay,
don't I don't I know all this SHIT.
got it, got it, got it.
Look at me. I'm not being a fucking name dropper because I really hate it, but I'm the black woman that got Bill O'Reilly fired from Fox News.
Got it. Okay, okay. And
Thank you for your service.
so
No,
when
no. I thank you for my ancestors' presence because my mother would never let me live with a white man making me calling me names. No, 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 no. Anyway,
you know what I like, and that reminds me of a scene too, because I love the way they did that in the pilot episode. We kind of get the moment where she has the conversation with him. I think it's towards the end. Maybe it was the second they kind of ran together. I watched them back to back, but bear with me. When we have the moment with Donald Sterling and V. Stiviano in the room, right, and we get bits and pieces of their conversation that she eventually leaks, and then we come back to it later. I thought that was brilliant. I love that. And it's in those moments that we learn about V and how she feels about, you know, the
And
race,
in the words of my
the culture.
husband, V
They
ain't even bad like they talking about. V ain't bad
right.
like, excuse me. Anyway,
Right. And so I think that that was really cool because we got to see how she truly feels. And again, the only reason why that occurs is because women are led to believe that, or women are perceived as people that are less valuable when they're in these positions with these men, right? Less valuable, less intelligent, those kinds of things. And so when that happens in that little moment in the show where we get that she's like, but you're actually being racist. And then he says another like evasive rich white man thing. And she's like, but so you don't care about black people, and I can't change the color of my skin. And we get this really like delicate, sympathetic moment. And I really enjoyed that because these are the kinds of things that is really captured on television that we can have fun with. And we can see like the buildup of this extremely scandalous true event, right? Where she is like, hey, this motherfucker don't give a fuck about me. But then she immediately does what? Which is to me was so exciting about this episode, right? As soon as she did that, he like expressed some sort of like pain that he had when she was kind of fighting him on the duplex and things. And as soon as he was in pain, she was like, oh baby, oh baby. And I think it was so well done. Cleopatra's doing a great job of showing how you can perform in those moments. It's very meta. Like she's performing and then she's performing in the moment of how V was when it's like, I'm going to challenge the person that is treating me terribly. However, in those moments, what I'm going to do is also when he's going through a thing, I'm going to flip on the switch of being the caterer and the lover girl and the submissive, whatever kind of like stereotypical labels you want to slap onto the dynamic of a rich white man, a wealthy white man, and a mostly financially and emotionally powerless woman, right? Who kind of flipped the script on everybody, which is why this is a story. Tej, go ahead.
Yeah, I just think I know we gotta wrap up soon, but I just think that this is not like there are things about this show that annoy me. Mostly the like the old school Instagram inserts when we're going between scenes. I hate it. It's a mess. I don't want to look at random memes in the middle of my TV show. I look at random memes in the middle of my scrolling, and now I want to watch TV. So the show's not perfect, but it's so messy. It's kind of like a well acted soap opera, and I say well acted for our main cast. Like I said, I really like what the two main women are doing. I also really like the addition of the friend, who is a show addition that's basically used so she could bounce ideas off of. Like she needs somebody there to talk to her, and so she can bounce out. She can tell the viewer how she's feeling at any given time and get some advice. That character is a show invention, and her having a best friend that's a black woman, kind of doesn't make sense. Like she brings her to the game, and Sterling has nothing to say about it, but she's also black, and Sterling's not saying don't bring black men to the game. That's what he means, but he's not actually saying that when she's bringing her black friend to the game. So, like, you can tell that that's a show invention, but that actress is doing a good job. And I think those three women, on top of what Lawrence Fishburne is doing, and on top of what Ed Harris is doing, I just think those five characters are so well acted and well portrayed that it's going to be able to be entertaining despite the fact that the show has flaws, which I think it has flaws. But after that second episode ended, I was like, damn, I wish I could press play on the third episode right now. Like this story is compelling enough, and they're doing a good enough job to where I'm not going anywhere, even though I see the flaws in the show, and I'm sure we'll see more flaws as we go forward.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. I think Lawrence Fishburne, and I can't believe we're only just now talking about him, right? We'll have another episode next week about this show as well because I love the scandal. But I think Lawrence Fishburne, um, with LeVar and everything. I think I get really excited about how he portrays Doc. I know, Angela, you hate it because like it makes him seem like the good guy, but I think it works for the show because when you get those moments, again, me and TJ already told you guys, the Clippers can't hoop in real life or on TV, guys. It is what it is. It looked terrible. I didn't know what was going on. But you know what is fun when we get those moments with Doc as a coach with the Clippers and we see the complete difference between Doc as a coach with the Clippers and Ed Harris playing Donald Sterling with the team as well, right? Like we get that juxtaposition immediately where the team is like rapping with Doc Rivers, and then when Donald Sterling walks in, they're like, yeah, everything's, yeah, we're doing great, yeah, playoffs, woo. So I've been having fun with that, but I think what I'm excited about too is V and the Black Friend. I don't know how you feel. I guess you feel how you feel about it. I do like the cutaways. I told you, I love the cutaways where we get V with her two foster children, or V on the phone with whomever she's speaking to that's helping her kind of secure the life that she wants to live, or V with her Black friend, right? Like, I enjoy those moments. That makes me feel like this is why we're getting this many episodes in this season, because it's not just V as a victim, right? It's not V for victim and she's just under Donald. Like, we see these moments where we're not sure if she's doing this intentionally. Again, we know this is based on true events, but I'm talking about the TV show, right? This is what we watch. We're not sure if this, like, some of the moments where she's talking shit, some of the moments where she's standing up for herself, some of the moments where she's like sneakily doing things, you don't really know her motivations outside of like, we do know how this ends. And so it's really fun to just kind of sit in those moments with her. So that was what we watch. I want to everyone to go ahead and, answer the poll with if you think V fumbled the bag. I think that's hilarious. And we'll be back next week. Thank you guys for joining. This is What We Watch Wednesday on Clipped. And we'll have a special guest next time, so stay tuned. And thank you guys so much. Bye.